Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first ever podcast episode of Blue Collar Bird Hunters Presents Birds, Bird Dogs, and Bourbon. I'm your host, Derek. Sitting next to me is my son and my best hunting buddy, Cash. What do we know tonight, Cash?
A lot.
So, kind of the way we're going to do things to start with, and we'll just kind of see how it goes from there, is we're going to start out by tasting a different bourbon every time. We'll talk about it, kind of where it comes from, that sort of a deal, and then we will move into all of our other conversation for the evening. So first off, we've got some Woodford Reserve Straight Kentucky Bourbon, and it's, let's see, 90.4 proof. And I personally, we're starting out. This is a bottle that I got from our old buddy Grandpa Wayne, Mr. Wayne. And I'm sure he's been on multiple videos that everybody can see on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. But he's our little World War II or Vietnam vet that comes over and hangs out with us a lot. He'll probably be on a couple podcasts at some point. But he got me this for my birthday a few weeks ago, so we're going to try this out. So let's just take a little pour here. That's a little pour.
That's a little one.
Well, there's a smaller one for you.
Typically, when you hear the bubbling,
on the nose, you kind of really get that vanilla.
does have a little more vanilla.
It does, yeah. It's got some nice vanilla notes, and you get that oak in there. Mm-hmm. Almost some caramel. Smooth. I mean, it's very. You get that vanilla, the oak, right on the front of it, almost. And there's got a little bit of a bite, but not bad.
It's got a smooth taste.
It just kind of says, "Hello, I'm here." There ain't much better than a little Woodford and water, just straight up Woodford. If anybody's into making old fashions, Woodford makes one of the best old fashions that you can come across, by far. And maybe one of these episodes we will do a couple of. I make a pretty legit old fashioned with Woodford. Well, I can make pretty good old fashioned with about anything, but
you perfected it with the Woodford.
I've broke the code on how to make it. So here's to our Woodfords, our first episode ever. So who we are, we started this, and for everybody, if you don't have a chance or haven't got a chance yet, we're on TikTok predominantly with a lot of lives. We've got our live feed up right now. And so if at any point we can interact with our live feed, I think that's great. That way we have real time questions and things like that coming in. So we're going to have that on here. We started a YouTube page. We're going to get some stuff going on there. Just as many platforms as we can, just so that when we do get shut down on one, we're still up on the others and can still keep going and pushing out the great content that we all want to see.
Well, on YouTube, we can post more of our shooting and what we're actually running and go over our gear and what we're actually using.
Yeah, we've tried to do several gear reviews, and everyone gets shut down because they might catch a glimpse of what they perceive as a pew or what, or they actually do catch a glimpse of a buttstock of a shotgun and they shut us down.
Yeah.
So that's that. But we started Blue Collar. We're father and son team. We've got 3 German short hair pointers now, all males, and actually they're all full brothers. Chase is 3, and then Rubble and Tracker are 9 months, almost 10 months. Now, well, 9 months old now.
9 months right now.
Yeah,
and in a couple of years when we find a female, we're going to breed Chase.
Yeah, we've been talking about getting a female and breeding at some point, but we've got them, and we just love bird hunting. We've posted a bunch of pictures and different things, and people are always asking us, hey, what do you guys use for this? So we decided we'd start our blue collar bird hunters. And we talked about doing a podcast forever because we love bourbon. And I'm like, what do people like? They want to drink good bourbon and shoot birds. Like, what else is better? So we came up with the idea of the blue collar bird hunters presents the birds, bird dogs, and bourbon, so that we get to talk about everything that we enjoy and all of our passions. So some weeks, I know it's kind of crazy to start a podcast about bird hunting at the end of season,
almost a week after season.
but I figured maybe we can get all of the kinks and the tongue tiedness and all of that kind of stuff out before our next season, which we'll start. We still got plenty of, we'll talk about all sorts of hunting. We're going to talk about, we have a month and a half that we'll probably do of thermal hunting if the weather changes. And then we'll go in transition probably into turkey hunting. We'll probably do a little bit of turkey hunting this year.
I got a new bow set that I'm going to test out and go try to get a turkey this year with my bow.
So. We just had a question. How do you find us on YouTube? I was working on that earlier today. I think I got it changed over to Blue Collar Bird Hunters. It was Chase the GSP. That was the original one that I'd made. There's only one video right now, but I will get a bunch of stuff put over on that. We will get to working on that. When we started this, I was not prepared or not really aware of how much time it takes to post and to stay up with all the different platforms. It's like one of our followers said earlier, it's like a full-time job just staying up with all of it. And then we're hoping to come out with some merchandise and different things here shortly. You want to tell them about the hats and the...
So we got, three designs now of hats that we're going to come out with, and then maybe a sweatshirt or two. I think we're going to do a cup. I don't know where your cup is.
I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll get that. Yeah. Well, we've got some cups being made.
You posted
more. Yeah, there's some.
We're going to make some cups like that and do our own little spin on it. On our YouTube, we're going to have a link posted probably on our Facebook and TikTok to where you guys can just click on it and go get pulled to it. So if you guys want to subscribe to it, you guys can always stay up to date what we're doing.
But yeah, hopefully when you guys go and look up YouTube, you'll be able to find that here shortly, if not already, and we'll get a bunch of stuff put on there. And there's so many times, and I'm sure there's so many other content creators. We've got a couple of great ones on here tonight on the TikTok Live. It's very frustrating, and not being able, knowing already that when you put something on, you're running a 90% chance of getting violated and taken off of whatever platform. So a lot of times it really drives what we're going to show and what we don't show. So I feel like people miss out on a lot of really cool stuff that we do throughout the year, and just because we can't show them everything. So hopefully by putting them on YouTube and everywhere, if we're off of one, go over here and look, and maybe it'll stay up over on something else. I hope. I don't know.
Typically they're pretty good on YouTube or Instagram. All of our videos that get taken down everywhere else, those two seem to at least keep it all up. So
yeah, we were there for a while. We were posting a bunch of thermal night hunting videos on YouTube, and you did a really good job. And none of them, to my knowledge, ever got taken down.
No, I never got those.
So maybe we can get back to that sort of thing, and get into where if we have a following maybe over there more than I think you can do lives and stuff on YouTube, can't you?
I think so, yeah.
So maybe that's what we need to look into. I'm all about it. It really drives me nuts that you can scroll through the TikTok lives and see half naked women, all these things. But here we just want to talk about bird hunting and bird dogs and drinking a little good whiskey. And yet they see a little short section of a shotgun or maybe the barrel of a rifle, and they shut us down all the time. And it's rather disheartening. But
yeah,
we don't want to get me on my soapbox on that very first episode. So walking on eggshells. Yeah. So yeah, bootlegger. This is our first podcast, so we're trying. We're still new to this, but this ought to help. A little bit more Woodford.
Reaching for mine.
Yeah. Well, hell, what does it matter?
It doesn't.
That's what it just burns it out of you. I mean,
I do like the water combination.
So back to so this year we started out dove hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, dove hunting is probably one of my favorite hunting seasons. Not only is it the first one of the year, so you're excited about that, but I think my biggest thing is we get to sit in lawn chairs, shoot guns, and drink beer.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing that screams more America than that.
I like dove hunting because you can go out and it's pretty easy to get access to go dove hunting.
Well, yeah, nobody really cares, and we've got some killer spots. I mean, we've got spots that we sit there with the new dove tree that Cash got us this year, which is if you don't have one, if you hunt somewhere that there's a lot of doves but nowhere for them to land close to where you want to sit, you got to get a dove tree. And I think that was how much. It wasn't that expensive, was it?
No, it was $50.
Yeah, $50 at Walmart of all places, and it it works amazingly well. We would have doves come in to 5 yards at times. I mean, trying to land on that tree, it was crazy.
The thing about dove hunting I like is it's a very cheap side of hunting to get into. I like September because September is my bow hunting season. So
speak for yourself. You know how much beer I was drinking some nights?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there was a couple of nights it was pretty rough. Also. Well, yeah, and the shelf. The more
shooting was a little expensive sometimes, but coming out of the trap season, going straight into dove hunting, I felt like it was a good fun turn because you go from taking shooting super serious to being able to relax and joke around about missing stuff.
Yeah. And I love it just for the simple fact that you get to pull the trigger a lot, and it's so much more action packed than typical pheasant and quail hunt. I mean, yeah. And in the mornings and the evenings, you're going to have lots of action. And so I love it. And then we did a little bit of grouse hunting. You got your first ever prairie chicken this year.
Chicken that face pointed.
Yeah, we were actually out going out dove hunting and happened to see, I don't know, a flock of prairie chickens, and we were able to. They landed on ground that we could hunt, and we were able to get up there and got up around them and on point, and we ended up Cashy got one. So that was pretty cool.
Almost shot two, but just couldn't make the second shot work.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I got that, and then the only bird I was missing for my upland slam in Nebraska was my Sharpie, but never really found out where those were sitting.
We got to go up to the sandhills, I think, to really get a good chance at getting a Sharpie.
Yeah, at least I guarantee that it's going to maybe be a Sharpie because we have a lot of mixture down here. I think it's really hard to tell what you're shooting if you're shooting Sharpie or prairie chicken.
Yeah.
But
so then we got into then we go into pheasant season and quail season, and I had lots of high hopes this year because everybody, including us, were saying how they were seeing significantly more birds this year than everybody else.
Yeah.
But I just didn't feel that way out in the field. And we were seeing more birds as we were driving around scouting. We were scouting for elk hunting. We were seeing a lot more birds, but once the season got here, it just didn't seem like it. It didn't feel that way.
It felt like we were seeing less and less pheasant than we were quail, but quail were everywhere. It seemed like.
Yeah, and we were able to get out west. We always enjoy going a little bit west of where we're at in central Nebraska, and we hit some pretty good hunting out there. And typically, it's always the further west you go, the better it gets, kind of a deal. But we had a couple of pretty good days out there, but by and large, we were shooting more quail. We were shooting probably 5 quail to every pheasant we shot, is what I'm guessing the average was, because we were just way more into the quail this year, it seemed like.
Well, you got that limited quail, and then I don't think either one of us limited out on roosters. We just never had an opportunity to actually limit out on roosters.
I don't think we shot an actual. I mean, we were both close. We both had 2 several times, but we just could never seal the deal. I shot a limited quail.
Yeah. You shot a limited quail, and then I was 2 off of my limit. I'm hoping next year there's more pheasant to come around and hang out this next year.
Yeah. So Allgrid asked where they can find this podcast. We're hoping that we're going to put it on Spotify and hopefully the iTunes or the Apple podcast deal, if we can get it on there as well. But at first, I'm pretty sure we're putting it on Spotify for sure. So look for it there. And then as we find out more and learn more, we'll let everybody else know. And there again, if anybody has any questions or requests of stuff we talk about, because we don't have to just talk about pheasant and quail or grouse. We can talk about ducks, geese. We can talk about deer hunting. We can talk about anything. So that's why I kind of wanted to keep the live thing going, because I think it's kind of cool that people can interact and then go back and hear later and listen to the rest of it or however. So then after,
then we roll into deer season.
yeah, we had deer season.
Which deer season was pretty slow at the start, but I thought it picked up rather quick there at the end.
We had our buddy Justin, who I'm sure we'll have him on a podcast. I'm sure he'll be on several.
Yeah.
He owns all the ground that we hunt, and they just acquired through a trade another 6,000, 7,000 acres of ground.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a total like 7,000 or 8,000 acres of ground, and it's pretty much all in one big chunk. And the new ground had never been hunted for like the last 10 years, so we were super excited. But the warm temperatures this year and just
the warm temperatures and deer numbers being down just didn't help at all. I think a lot of deer. First of all, I don't think we saw all the deer because a lot of them were moving at night, and when you're learning a new piece of ground, we never went out and scouted for them and never really set up our cameras where we probably should have.
That's very well, and we had a pretty rough. I guess I kind of left out, but our elk hunting this year drug on and on. We got the first guy a bull in the middle of October, but the other gentleman who had a really tough unit to hunt that nobody sees elk in very often. We hunted to the very last, to the bitter end, but we just could not get. Well, we hunted with him until the day before pheasant season.
Yeah.
But we just could not score one for him. But
couldn't see one even in the daylight.
So that kind of took a lot of our time, because by the time that ended, then we were only 2 weeks away from deer season. And so we didn't have a whole lot of good intel going in, because we were using all of our good cell phone cameras for elk hunting, trying to get real-time information on them. And it just didn't work out. But deer hunting worked out good, though.
But deer hunting went pretty well. I mean, opening day, I tagged out on my deer.
Yeah, you did get yours on opening.
I got mine.
Our new ground did not pan out. The big deer are there, but it's just going to take some time learning and figuring out where
to sit to get.
Yeah, and it's very mule deer in one area, whitetails are in another. So there's that whole figuring out where's the line and where do they really like, because nobody really had much intel on what areas they were frequenting.
Yeah. I mean, we just kind of looked into them, except for this one little pasture that we used to always hunt.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Sparky got a couple shots on opening weekend at some good deer.
Yeah, I shot at one opening weekend too. I shot at one, the big one that we were after, that he is still alive and he's going to be an absolute giant this year. But I shot at him at 1,000 yards right through his horns. And
I think this next year I'm going to try to divide more time in scouting for deer. And
yeah,
I think the important thing is when you're scouting for deer, not to push them and make them feel like they're already being pushed into that winter, because deer will reset kind of into their summer patterns. And when they get their summer patterns, I feel like these deer probably got pushed out of their summer patterns by people driving around looking at fences, just looking over the ground. And I think it kind of bumped some of them out of their summertime pattern to where they were already in wintertime thinking about how to evade people.
Yeah.
So I think this next year, though, there won't be as much people driving around, so maybe they'll be a little more docile and a little easier to pattern, if you will.
Well, and I think once the grazing over there gets fixed,
yeah,
and that's something we can have Justin come in and talk about, grazing and planting different food plots and that kind of stuff, and how a normal average person does these things, because he'd be a great one to be able to tell us that. But I think if we get some food plots put in there and kind of manage it right, and the grazing will help, I think we'll have there's going to be some giants taken out of there in the upcoming years. I know that.
We've got some up and comers that are going to be really big next
year. Well, yeah, when we were there was a couple of I'm going to say,
we had a lot of 140s.
We had a lot of 130s and a lot of 140s that lived this year, and at least one 160-70 class at least.
I think there's two 160s probably roaming around that
So
live.
there should be a couple. And there's I think we'll be in good shape for
Well,
this coming
I'm
season.
happy. I mean,
And then the creek where I shot my big deer this year, you just never know what's coming up or down that
no,
one.
you and I
There's always
shot our deer in the same space. And, I mean, from the time that I shot my deer, I figured I killed the biggest deer in that area. But true to the fashion, Turkey Creek always provides. And you just never know what's going to be there. You got to
yeah,
take your time in there to sit and see what happens.
yeah. One of our main followers, Mike, he likes where the post on social media where deer hunters get annoyed with bird hunters. That's I enjoy that too because I'm both, but
I
deer hunters just they gotta kind of they there's so many more of them than there are of us. I think that they get their way, and a lot of the industry is kind of geared towards them because of that. But
I can see like the where the argument would happen, but if you're hunting like ground and you're deer hunting and somebody else is your neighbor's bird hunting, well, I don't know why you'd be mad because he might push the deer towards you and you might have an opportunity at deer you'd otherwise never see.
yeah,
But I feel like I mean everybody's just got to understand like, some people like their hobbies more than others, and as long as people are out in the great outdoors, I don't think anything can go wrong.
that's how. Yeah, amen to that. So James W asked, he's wanting to get into upland, and he's looking at either single shot or over and under. Should he go with a light 12 gauge or just get a 20? So definitely get an over and under. Don't get a single shot. You'll hate yourself. And honestly, 20 or 12, you're going to be fine either way. And it's just personal preference. There's been several times that I swear that I'm going to go to a 20 gauge just because a bird gets up too close. And
Yeah,
yeah, we all know how that ends up. A lot of feathers and a lot of BBs and meat and that kind of thing. So
I
I
think
swear I'm going to go to a 20 gauge, but they're really not that much different.
I think the only time people have problems with the 20 gauge is if you're shooting the wrong size shot for what you're hunting. If you're hunting, pheasants, putting that heavier shot to where you're actually going to have a chance of bringing them down. But yeah, I'd definitely go with an over and under. So you have two shots instead of just one. Because a lot of times your first shot, pheasants or quail will even surprise you with that first shot. And the second shot, you can dial in and get caught back up and get wet.
Yeah. Mike said 20 gauge is about 6 ounces lighter, and that matters. And that's absolutely.
Yeah.
I personally, maybe towards the end of the season, I'd probably up it to a 12 gauge or something. I mean, I when we get towards the end of the season, it's not uncommon for a rooster to get up 40, 50 yards out there, and for me to still drop him. But I shoot 4 or 5 shot towards the end
Mm-hmm.
of the season, just that way. I don't know. You just have that extra little oomph and to get out there and maybe touch one or a little heavier shot, maybe to bring him down. I guess I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, that's what I would recommend. But I mean, at the end of the day, it just kind of depends on what birds you're hunting and how you're hunting them.
Yeah,
If you're doing flushing, it might run into an issue with your flushing dog working too far ahead of you and flushing out. With a 20 gauge, I mean, if a dog gets too far in front of you and flushes, you're just going to do more wounding than you are going to do killing.
which we did have a happy. We'll get back to the hunting season. This is kind of segue into that, but we had kind of a happy ending the last day of season.
Mm-hmm.
About 3 weeks ago, probably 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
we hunted one of our kind of our hunting hole spots, and Cash knocked down this rooster, and I watched him knock this rooster down, and he went down hard. The dogs were instantly right there where the rooster fell, and we looked for 45 minutes that day and could not find this rooster. Um, we looked and looked, and I mean, it made us sick, but we could not find him. And I told Cash he had to have ran. There's no other way that he survived. I mean, I don't know how he survived to begin with, but he had to have gotten up and ran. So fast forward to the last day of season, Cash again shot another rooster, and the dogs went to pick it up. On the way over, one of the other dogs bumped this rooster, and I seen he bumped this rooster, and he only got up, I don't know, 3 foot above the
Yeah.
ground, and the dogs tried to grab him out of the air. And I called everybody off from shooting, and the dog wasn't able to get him. So we walk up there a little bit closer, and the bird was gone again. And I'm like, that had to be the wounded one. Well, sure enough, one of the dogs goes on point over in the road ditch, and this rooster, he'd finally run out of room to run and had to get up, and we were able to harvest that bird. And so that was kind of a happy ending
Yeah.
that a bird didn't get wounded and out there, and because you never want to leave anything wounded like that.
Yeah. Makes me feel better knowing that we took the wounded one down.
Are they hunting wild birds released? So yeah, and that's released birds. Your shots, you could go out there with a 410 on certain places, certain release deals, and kill everything that was put out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that absolutely. If you're hunting public ground, I'd say 20 gauge minimum, 28 gauge, something like that. But I prefer 12 because there's everybody's always got ammo for 12
Yeah.
gauge.
I think with a 12 gauge, you just have more knockdown power too.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so back to our. So I shot a pretty good one. Dally shot a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys shot pretty good ones. I shot a really good one.
Yeah, I was gonna say yours is
I shot the biggest whitetail of the year.
well the biggest whitetail now.
Yeah, the biggest whitetail we've killed so far.
Because he's 10 inches big or 5 inches bigger than mine, so I guess I'll give you the king.
Then we transitioned over and we went mountain. Well, you weren't able to go because
No.
you had a new baby at home.
Mm-hmm.
So you weren't able to go, but we went up with a buddy of mine, Bobby, and his son Wyatt. We went up mountain lion hunting, and it was just so incredibly warm and dry. We found one set of tracks the whole time we were there, and the one morning we got up and it was like 50 some degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning. It was crazy warm, and so yeah, needless to say, we did not find any cougars.
Didn't the season close a week after?
Yeah, so after we were there, season closed because the way Nebraska does it, in that unit you could either kill 6, and but once 3 females were shot,
Mm-hmm.
it was done. So if the very first day 3 females get shot, that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
But I think the very first weekend, 1 female got shot. A few days later, another female got shot, and then a few days later, another female got shot. So they shut her down.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but I do think there is still one unit that's open. But
there is. I mean, there's a couple units that have bigger quotas to fill, and I don't think the females have been harvested of that of them yet.
yeah,
But I also think they get more female tags and probably, or more females are allowed to be taken in those units because there's more cats in those units.
yeah. And so that was our big cougar hunting experience. But going next year, I think we need to put in for that, and we could take everybody on that little adventure. But I learned a lot, and I think as far as calling goes, I thought going up there, I thought I was kind of knew what I was doing calling, but hunting a cougar, calling cougars are significantly different than a guy would think.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like bobcats. They're not like anything. We've killed lots of bobcats, but I've never killed a cougar. You've never killed a cougar. I mean,
no, mountain lions are one of those ones that they're very different. It's just like going from a coyote to a wolf. I mean, everybody says wolf hunting is very different in your calling sequences and how you do it. I mean, cat, that big mountain lion, but it's just a different way of how they approach you. Because bobcat, I mean, they'll think about it and slowly come in. Where I figure a mountain lion's going to want to kind of watch you for a little bit before they come in.
yeah. Well, and every bobcat we've ever called, they always kind of come in slow, and you got to call way longer for them than a coyote. And they come in slow, and they'll sit down and watch. They'll come a little bit further and sit down and watch. And I can only imagine most of the mountain lions harvested with a caller that way.
However, this year's just been a letdown with the warm weather in the middle of January.
Oh yeah, coyote hunting has not went as planned, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
So the end of pheasant season, I guess, if you will, January, we we were home for a couple of weeks, and then we had to go down to my daughter's, your sister's, in Kansas. We were down there for a week and a half, and the bird numbers there were, I feel, fairly comparable. Everybody asks us, how are the bird numbers here and there? I feel like down there, like our son-in-law Derek said, my son-in-law Derek, your brother-in-law, they're up, they're better than they were, but they're still just not what they used to be. And I think that's a very common phrase or sentence that you hear, and I think that's very true. It's just not what it used to be.
I think the thing that surprised me about going down there is up here, I mean, on the same kind of terrain, we've had a lot of quail, and down there in that same terrain, there's not quail. There's only pheasants.
Yeah.
I mean, however, there's way more predators down there than back up here. Like we were counting a bunch of hawks every day, and we were seeing coyotes actually move in the daytime when they didn't really need to be, which I thought was very interesting. Then up here, I feel like coyote hunting is more. Coyotes are way more controlled than down there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So so I guess we can get a little bit of coyote hunting out around here, around home. We've been out several times, but we'll get them to answer us, and we might see them, but they won't commit and come in, and it's just one after another stand that they won't come in. So when we went down there, we were excited to go try something different, and down there, there's just way less people.
Yeah.
And so I think the first night, what did we called in 13 coyotes the first night in under 2 hours.
Yeah.
And
we called in 13, then 11 the next
yeah.
night. And then, I mean, I think
there was one night that we only called in like 5 or 7, something like that. You got the one, but that night the moon was sure bright and they could see us from a long ways away. So let's just hold off for just a second. We're back from a little break here. We had to take care of a few things. So back to I guess towards the end of our season, we were in Kansas, and then we came back for your birthday, and we have our annual Cash's birthday, last day of pheasant season pheasant hunting. It was beautiful most of the week in the 40s, and then we hit Saturday and it was sub-zero. It was like 12 below with a wind chill. Not a lot of fun, but we still walked a couple fields, and we scratched out 2 roosters, one of which was the wounded one. So that ended the season on a high note for me, that we didn't leave a wounded bird out in the field.
I'm looking forward to March and shed hunting. I want to try to find the sheds off our target deer.
I'm still kind of itching to kill a few more coyotes with my new thermal. I upgraded this year to a Pulsar Thermion XG or an XQ50 LRF Pro, and Cash got my XQ50, and then so we've upgraded, and it's having that laser rangefinder in my scope has sure been a game changer by far.
Plus we upgraded rifles.
And we upgraded rifles. They're both on matching Bergera B14 HMR Pros. Right? Yeah.
Chambered in 6.5.
Chambered in 6.5 Creedmoors. So they're straight up killing machines when it comes to coyotes. I think we're shooting some 129 grain Hornady match ammo. And it's the coyotes that we've got to shoot with them so far. We've shot at a few way the heck out there, and we're right there, but we're just not quite connecting. The furthest one I shot was 308 yards.
Yeah.
And you shot a couple around 250.
Yeah, I think the first one I've killed is 300.
Yeah, so
I think we just need to spend more time behind them and figure them out and see how they feel.
Yeah,
because they're just too new.
Yeah, and so then we'll move into, after coyote season, we'll move into hunting a few sheds. Hopefully, find a few elk sheds this year. Maybe some good whitetail sheds, and do a little pheasant hunt or turkey hunting. Thank you. Do a little turkey hunting. If Nebraska sure has changed. I had several guys wanting to come in from out of state and do turkey hunting, but the tags are already sold out for non-residents. If you don't buy a turkey tag like the first week of the year, You're not going
I
to
need
get
to
it
I
out of
need to
state.
see if I even have can buy a turkey tag because they only gave out 10,000 last year.
Yeah, which Nebraska is now going to a $1 state. That is
Yeah.
confirmed. So I think that'll dang sure help our numbers, and maybe not the overall numbers, but I think that will help. We'll see better deer. I think eventually we're going to see bigger, better deer.
I think eventually, but I think at the end of the day, a lot of people just go out to go shoot deer. So I mean, you're gonna have a lot of people still shoot those 120-inch deer that are first deer that show up. So
Yeah,
I mean, you're still gonna compete with that, but I mean, at least now they're only pulling that one buck or that one buck out of the gene pool rather than pulling two out, which I think really hurts the gene pool.
yeah,
And so I'm hoping that this next year, I mean, I'm gonna definitely be more selective with my tag, but I'm hoping that I'm really curious to see how the bow and seasons work on this one buck tag. If you buy one tag, if it's good for your bow season, your rifle season,
yeah,
muzzleloader season, or if you're gonna have to buy if you buy one bow tag, it's only good for bow and muzzleloader. Let's say how they're gonna do that. And if you buy one buck tag, are you going to be able to shoot a mule deer on that tag, especially where we live in the mule deer conservation area? So I
yeah.
want to see how that was going to work.
So for everybody that doesn't know, here in Nebraska we have deer units throughout the whole state, and some of them are MDCA, mule deer conservation areas, and to get a tag in one of those units is extremely hard. You can get back in the day you could buy over the counter whitetail tags, but getting a mule deer tag you have to draw, and it's not always that easy to draw.
No.
So when you do get one, it's kind of a big deal because you have a in the unit that we're sitting in right now, you have a chance at shooting a 180-inch muley.
I'd say more 160s or
But
buck
you
heads.
could. That's my point. Like there are a few.
They're here. I mean, definitely here, but it's just how much time are you looking to actually scout one out and find them? Because those big 180s, are far in between and very hidden.
Yeah.
But I'm looking
So
forward to seeing how this new system works. I'm excited to see in 5 years to see how the deer population, the deer quality looks rather
yeah,
than what it does now. Because
the numbers are down. That's for sure.
yeah, it'd be nice if the numbers would come back, especially after it. But
Yeah. I think it'll. I hope it helps with numbers, but I hope it really helps with quality of deer because there's no reason that we don't see multiple 180, 200-inch deer a year.
drag your puzzle piece over.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska's right there where like Kansas when Kansas shifted to a $1 state, they were seeing better quality, and now there's more record book entries in Kansas than there has ever been. So I mean, I'm definitely think that there's gonna be some good coming from this $1 tag.
I think so.
I'm just hoping that I can kill my $1 opening weekend with my bow.
Yeah.
Kill my
Well,
big muleys I've been watching.
and that's so kind of jumping into well, not to jump ahead, but to kind of foreshadow, I guess, a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. That's one of the things that I think loss of habitat. If and that's one of the topics that we want to cover in one of the upcoming episodes is the habitat and the loss of the habitat that we're seeing. But I think that directly correlates with the deer hunting and the deer
Mm-hmm.
numbers and the amount of habitat that we're losing with people taking out these little farmsteads and tree rows and fence rows. It's insane. And every time somebody it's an acre here, an acre there, but that stuff adds up, and that's where that 1 or 2 acres is where 90% of the game in that
Yeah.
area live. So
Well, like when we were down in Kansas, I mean, the amount of coverage that we were able to see, people are leaving, and we're not asking like you leave like everything, just how it was. But even if you leave a corner, I mean, that would give game somewhere to at least hide and let the
yeah,
grass grow tall. Don't mess with it. Even if you don't hunt, just do that because then that'll help the game in all that area have somewhere to seek refuge at least. Especially if the grass is 8 foot tall or 6 foot tall at minimum. A big old whitetails would go bed in it.
yeah.
So I mean, I think it would help.
So that kind of wraps up. So what's up? What are we doing after turkey season when we get done with all of the hunting What's next? What do we do?
I'm looking forward to trap season. I like shooting trap and doing that, but I'm going to work a whole lot harder on shooting my bow this year to get dialed in for next season. And
I'm excited for trap. I'm a trap coach for one of the local schools, and Cash is going to be an assistant coach, I'm guessing, this year. But um, I'm looking forward to trap season. I thoroughly enjoy watching you guys all shoot, but getting out to be able to go shoot with you now that you guys are older, getting to be able to go out and compete right beside you guys. That's something that I thoroughly enjoy.
well, my thing this year is I want to push to the high schoolers that trap shooting can be fun, but now these bigger colleges are actually having trap teams, so you can actually get your college paid for by shooting really good. And I've got experience going to different trap shoots and going all the way down to Texas to shoot at the state championship. So I felt like me being able to do that was just a super cool experience. I'm super happy I did it, and I really want people to know about it and actually be able to go do it this next come when they get into college and have that looking forward to them. Because you might not be good at football and you might not be good at basketball, but if you can shoot a shotgun really good, you have a really high chance of getting that scholarship.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of schools, traps come and making a big comeback in college. There's a lot of bigger schools coming out with a trap team, and a lot of smaller schools. Like if you want to go to trade school, a lot of trade schools are starting to get trap teams because that's helping
Yeah.
provide it for. So.
Well, and that's going to kind of lead us in. We're going to take a few questions off of our live TikTok live. And yeah, Mike, that so trap was just February through Labor Day. No, they're getting to be. You could honestly shoot trap just about any time of the year if you're willing to travel. But yeah, out here in the Midwest, it's typically so we'll start shooting with the kids. March, April. Some kids start in February. But there's several shoots that are after. They have meat shoots and stuff after Labor Day.
So I mean, it just kind of depends on what kind of trap shoot you're going for. If you're really competitive in it and you're wanting to chase like money, the Grand Open shows up in September, late September, almost October, and then like there's a bunch of big shoots going on right
Oh,
now.
he was just giving us a hard time.
No.
So Bros Graphics said he got his kid a new Remington 1100 trap, left-handed. Well, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We know our old Grandpa Wayne. He's got a Remington 1100 trap, and it's fancy. I don't think it's had 200 shells run through it, and it's about as gorgeous of a gun. And I'm not a Remington person, not at all, but I do have a thing for the old Remingtons. We own several Remington 1100s, but you have to appreciate the Remington 870 and the 1100s for what they are. There's probably been more birds and more blue rocks shot with one of those guns than any other guns combined.
I mean, that's the one thing that really surprised me is you can still, on a college trap field, you can still see an old 870 go out there and shoot skeet and everything that I shot with my over and under.
So going back to our questions, Mike asked, "Why shoot clays if we can shoot birds?" Well, Mike, we can't shoot birds during the summer. I mean, I guess you can legally shoot like blackbirds or something, I suppose.
I did.
But yeah, so we shoot clays during the summer so that we can actually hit birds in the fall. Bro Graphic, I have 14 1100s. What's your address, bros? That's all I'm. Oh, I know. That's for what they would consider a budget gun, an 1100 or an 870. They're hard. Back in the day, they were really hard to beat.
I feel like before they really got into their synthetic stock, because I think once like they went from the wood to synthetic, they kind of lost a lot of their due diligence on watching what kind of quality they were pushing up the door. But nowadays, I mean, they're getting back to where they're watching more of the quality and getting a better shotgun. But like your shotgun that you were telling us.
Yeah, so I saved up one summer and they just come out with the synthetic stock ones, and I was all excited to buy this, and I went and my parents obviously bought it because I was a kid, and got it home. It was a black synthetic stock. That way, I didn't have to take my nice shotgun that I really cared about out in the woods. I could just take this shotgun. So if it got beat up or scratched, it didn't matter. So Opening day gets there, and we go out, and I had a GSP. His name was Bud, very first GSP I ever had. He goes out, he points into this clump of brush, this clump of CRP grass. Up jumps two roosters. I shot the first one, and then when I went to eject that shell and chamber another shell, the slide broke. The handle actually broke off the two slides, and after that, I've never had a desire. Like I said, I like the old Remington 87, the old 870 Expresses and the 1100s. But anything other than those two, I in Remington, I can't wrap. I cannot buy. I can't do it.
But I think those, like the 1100, that's what I shot my first 25 was the one that you bought. And I mean, I think as long as you get those older Remingtons like that, I think you're good and you always have good quality because they were built better back then.
Everything is built better.
Yeah, I mean,
TJ asked, "Do you just hunt birds, or do you hunt other stuff like deer, bear, and elk?" Well, TJ, yes, we hunt everything, but we've never had the chance to hunt bears. We guide elk hunters in Nebraska when we can, and we're big deer hunters.
I almost bought a tag last year for a bear, but I didn't buy it because it was like stupid expensive.
But I've never actually killed an elk myself, but I've helped guys kill several good bulls. Yeah, I've called in a bunch of bulls, and I've just never made it happen for myself. And I want to really bad, but one of these days it'll happen.
Hopefully this year we draw the tag, and one of us does, and we can make it happen one more year.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions before we go on to something bears fun as morning?
I do think as we get into summer, though, like some of our podcasts, if people are looking for tips and tricks on maybe getting better at trap shooting, we might do a podcast over that. And what we see the most common mistakes people are making, especially if you get new to trap or you're just not hitting a lot of rocks.
Yeah.
Because I feel like between the two of us, we have a lot of experience shooting rocks, and we've shot a lot of rocks.
Well, shoot, we get Grandpa Wayne in here, and we'll have, gosh, 80 some years of trap shooting experience at least in here. Yeah. Over there. What clay disc do you like? As far as blue rocks, the white flyers are probably the best. So for our trap club or trap, I guess club for the high school kids, Lonnie, he's got us some different ones this other year, and they were made in China. They're kind of like the Timu blue rocks of the blue rock world, and they're not the white flyers. They just don't quite hold up.
Well, so the white flyers were really good. I mean, if you get a good box of them, but in college, a lot of the white flyers we were shooting, they did break a lot of rocks. You weren't getting to shoot as many targets as you were paying for. So, I mean, a lot of people are branching out and trying to find what's new. I think the gun club that we shot with in Holdridge, I mean, I think they recommend not getting the black light, or what is the one?
Oh yeah.
It's like the Walmart brand.
Yeah, there's two different brands. Yeah.
I mean, the white flyer, you're better off because they don't break near as much as the cheaper brands. So
yeah,
if you're gonna buy rocks, maybe spend just a tad more on the better rocks, so you get more for what you pay for.
Yeah, I don't even remember what the name of the Timu. We called them Timu targets because they were just some. He got a pallet of them in, and they were super cheap, but about every third one would break. So I don't know how cheap they really were. So, all right. Well, since nobody else has any more questions, we'll just go on in. So, upcoming episodes. What are we thinking here? We've got maybe let's talk. We're going to talk about some habitat loss. We're going to talk, maybe about grazing options and how grazing cattle can help manage and make some properties better for upland. We're going to talk about planting food plots and what kind of food plots.
Yeah.
Probably going to end up talking a little bit about a couple of thermal coyote hunt episodes, probably, and then probably getting into turkey season and we'll have to talk about turkey hunting, and
we'll talk a little bit about
give some tips and tricks on that.
Trap shooting will be right there about the same time. So,
and then we'll talk about trap shooting and what we do in the summer to keep our trigger fingers, lubed up and nice, and to kind of keep our eyes sharp to where we're shooting a little bit better than the average, because I think that's something that everybody could. Shooting is a diminishable
Trigger time's not just a
skill.
part-time deal.
Yes, you got to keep pulling that trigger. You got to pull that trigger on your love gun. You got to do her.
I did that one time, and now I have a 6-week-old baby.
Well, yeah, and now I'm a grandpa. So, with all that being said, we appreciate everybody for stopping by, and
definitely on our next episode, you'll see different whiskeys.
Yes, we will have different whiskeys, and if anybody, there again, we're back on the TikTok. We're on TikTok Live right now. That's where we get some of our answers and interactions, or questions and interactions, rather. And if anybody has any distillery in their area, little distillery, they want us to try their bourbon or send us a bottle of bourbon to try on here, we're more than happy to do that. But any suggestions we're open to, and if anybody has any cool people that they think would be good on here, send us a message and we'll make sure to get them on. So with that, I think we'll wrap her up, send her out the door. So we will talk to everybody later, and thanks for stopping by.